Every night we saw a shadow moving through the trees, until one night it came out of the shadows. I was sleeping in my bed when someone shook my shoulder. "Wake up, the shadow's there again," said Jamie, my brother. I got out of bed and went to the window. I saw the shadow in the trees once again, but this time it looked more clear. It looked through the window directly at me, so I ducked down. When I got back up, the shadow was gone. There was a knock on my door. I walked to my door slowly and opened it. I couldn't believe what I saw.
One day I was walking through the forest and it was night time and I was very scared. I saw the trees, they were rubbing next to each other and I got very scared. As I went deeper into the forest, I saw a shadow coming from the big tree. So I hid behind a big rock and I saw what it was. It was a bear. The bear came past me and I ran back the way I came down to it in the forest. And I saw my dad looking for me, so I ran up to him and I told him what I had seen, and he got a bit scared too.
Every night I saw a shadow in the trees until one night it came out the shadows. I crept out of bed, got changed and grabbed my backpack. As I opened my bedroom window, a gush of wind entered my room. I climbed out the window and ran to the forest. I couldn't see a thing. As I went to grab my flashlight, the clouds parted, showing the full moon. It was like someone knew I was there. The pine trees were as tall as skyscrapers. It felt like a maze at night. I heard a noise and turned around to see something that wasn't there before.
It was our fourth night in the woods. Every night I saw a shadow moving through the trees until one night it came out of the trees. I couldn't tell what it was. All I could see was a tall black shadow. It came toward my window. As I backed away, I screamed for Mum and Dad, but there was no answer. It started banging on my window and I screamed. But then I realised it was saying something. As I looked closer, I realised it was just Dad. He must have locked himself out. I calmed down as I took a deep breath.
Stop interrupting, Claire. So as I was saying, every night we saw a shadow moving through the trees, until one night it came out of the trees and scared the groundskeeper Jason. He was so scared that he had tripped over the closest rock into the muddiest puddle ever found. Why can't he have fallen into a pile of rainbows? Stop, Claire! If you want to change my story, then go make your own. Off Claire went and started to write her own story. There was no point reading it anymore, said Jake to no one.
Great, I was so happy to be camping with Mum. It has been a week now since we got here. It had rained last night, so the grass was all wet. I ran to the stream that I always go in the morning. It was a beautiful view. There was little waterfalls, cherry blossom trees, and every big mossy rocks in the stream. I sat on a rock in the middle of the stream. I saw a shadow. It's strange. Every night I saw a shadow moving through the trees until one night it moved out of the trees. It was my long lost sister.
Every night we saw a shadow moving through the trees until one night it came out of the trees. What came out of the trees? Dad, you were there. You know what came out of the trees. Oh yes, now I remember. It was... No, don't say it. It gives me nightmares. Okay, said Dad. You guys need to go to bed, said Dad. Okay, we'll just brush our teeth. The next day, I had to go to school. When I got there, it was very crowded in there because new reception kids were there. I still had the thought in my head. My mum was saying goodbye to me when I heard the noise that I heard in the forest. Stop.
Keep going.